Most people think they're reacting to life, but they're not. They're reacting to the story their brain built about life, and they don't even know it. If you stay with me in this video, you'll gain one of the rarest mental abilities on earth. I'm not joking. And that's the power to consciously change how your mind constructs meaning. And once you change that meaning, you'll change your emotion, your decisions, and your relationships. Because right now, you're not seeing reality. Many of you already know that. You're seeing your mind's prediction of reality. Now, most people think that changing perspective means thinking more positively or a little bit differently. That's not what we're talking about today. The real transformation is realizing that your brain is building that perspective that you live inside, moment by moment, through prediction, memory, emotion, and habit. And once you understand how that construction works, you gain the power to change your reactions, your relationships, and the direction of your life. Because if you don't learn to control this system, you will stay trapped inside the same interpretations, the same emotional patterns, and the same looping situations without ever realizing that you had the ability to shift your lens itself. So let's start here. Think of something that keeps triggering you. An argument, a disappointment, a silence that felt like rejection, a reply that felt like disrespect, or a relationship pattern that follows you like a shadow. You probably feel certain that you know exactly what it means. But stop and ask a question your brain almost never asks. What if the meaning I've been assigning to this situation was never the only meaning? What if your mind has been constructing a narrow version of reality without your conscious permission? You'll have to excuse me here. I'm high up in the mountains. There's a storm outside. It's supposed to start snowing. It's raining and very windy. So bear with me here. So here's the truth. You're not reacting to life. You're reacting to the model that your brain created of life. And that model can be updated. So your brain never gives you a raw view of reality. It's obvious. It gives you a predicted one. So this is called predictive processing. Now, I made a video earlier about predictive processing. If you'll search on my channel for episode 60, this is a few months ago, I highly recommend that you find the episode 60 on predictive processing and you watch it. It's where your senses send incomplete information. Your brain then fills in the gaps using your memory, expectation, emotion, your identity. So what you experience as reality is your brain's best guess. It's a prediction disguised as truth. Then the appraisal kicks in. So your emotions don't come from the events. They come from the meaning that your brain assigns to those events. Your amygdala flags threats or safety. Your hippocampus pulls similar memories. Your prefrontal cortex interprets meaning. And then something called the anterior cingulate cortex checks for conflicts between expectation and reality. Now, all this happens in milliseconds before you ever feel like you chose your reaction. That's why two people can live the same moment and walk away with completely different emotions. Now, they didn't live the same moment internally. Their minds built different realities. And because perspective is constructed, it can be reconstructed. So this is where cognitive flexibility comes in. Now, I have an episode on cognitive flexibility, by the way. You'll want to search my channel for episode 64. It's about mental flexibility. Make your mind more flexible. I highly recommend you watch that. So cognitive flexibility is your mind's ability to shift interpretations, to update mental frames, to generate multiple meanings, and choose the one that aligns with truth instead of fear. Now, people with low cognitive flexibility get trapped in rigid narratives. They personalize, they catastrophize, they misread intentions, or they overreact emotionally because they cannot step outside that first interpretation. So people with high cognitive flexibility, conversely, they pause before reacting. They hold multiple perspectives. They update when new information appears. And they respond with clarity instead of on emotional autopilot. So research shows that cognitive flexibility predicts emotional resilience, healthy relationships, intelligence and creativity, and problem-solving ability, not to mention many other things. So this is not positive thinking. This is executive function, and that's the skill of seeing things clearly. Again, I have a video on executive functioning. You want to search for episode 78 on my channel and watch that one. There's so much useful information here, guys. So what traps most people is not the present, it's their schemas. Now, schemas are the mental templates that you built from childhood, from past relationships, from trauma, your culture, and repeated emotional experiences. So these schemas determine what you notice, what you ignore, what feels like threat, what feels like rejection, or what you assume someone meant, and what you believe is possible for you. So if you grew up with instability, your nervous system may default to vigilance. If you grew up with feeling unseen, your mind may interpret silence as rejection. And if you were betrayed, sincerity may feel dangerous. So these patterns once protected you, and instead now they confine you. So you're not reacting to the present, you're reacting to the past, echoing through the present. And that's why our perspective work, it matters so much, because it breaks this automatic loop. So now I'm going to give you a few tools here. I think there are 6 tools that turn cognitive flexibility into something you can use under pressure. Okay, if you're ready, let's get started with these. You're going to love these tools. So first one, it's called perspective interruption. So in the moment that you feel a spike of emotion, like anger, anxiety, or defensiveness, so pause and ask, what story is my mind creating right now? And labeling that story interrupts the emotional cascade. So this reduces the amygdala activation and increases your prefrontal control. And that's the first exit from reactivity, right? You want that, it's very important. Tool number 2, it's called the 3 meaning drill. So you take any stressful situation and you generate 3 plausible interpretations, right? Not positive ones, but realistic ones. So if they didn't reply, for example, the 3 interpretations can be like you're waiting for someone to reply. They don't care, they're overwhelmed, or they want to respond when they have space, right? 3 interpretations. So the moment your brain sees more than one meaning, the rigidity dissolves and more cognitive flexibility appears. So let's move on now to the 3rd tool. It's called cognitive distancing. So you want to ask yourself, if someone else told me the story, what advice would I give them? So this shifts you into 3rd-person perspective, and it is a proven technique that reduces emotional intensity and increases clarity. This fire is getting really hot. Let's continue. Tool 4 is called the schema check. So when your reaction feels too strong, ask yourself, is the present moment or an old pattern being activated? If it's old, you're not reacting to now, you're reacting to history. So, and recognizing that will liberate you. The 5th tool is called the counterfactual stretch. Ask yourself, what would I think if I felt confident right now? Right? What would I assume if I believed this person cared? Or how would I interpret this if I assumed good intent? You see that? So this expands your mental range. So it's not delusion, it's expansion. And finally, the 6th tool is the emotional label disruption. It's where you label the emotions you're feeling, right? Rejected, anxious, disrespected, unseen. So when you label your emotions, that reduces your limbic activation by up to 40%. That's amazing. So when your emotions become precise, your interpretation becomes flexible, okay? So when you apply these consistently, something profound happens. You realize that your reactions are not random, but predictable products of interpretation. And your interpretations are not truth. They are predictions that your brain is willing to revise. So perspective becomes the steering wheel of your entire psychological life, right? When you shift that lens, your emotions will soften, your options will widen, and your reactions are going to slow, right? So that's very important. So perspective, it's not a trick. It's reconstructing your inner world, okay? So I want you to ask yourself today, where am I trapped in a single interpretation? What story have I replayed so long that it feels like fact? And what would open in my life if I broke that story apart? Because when you master cognitive flexibility, you stop reacting from the old lens and you start responding from clarity, from possibility. So perspective is power. And once you learn to shift it consciously, you change who you become. So I hope that you will take this material to heart today, replay this video, share it with friends, discuss it, and try some of these tools, these examples I've given you today. And I want to hear about your experience. Please comment on the video, come back and comment. I read all the comments. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.